Not only do we have rules that are going to affect their ability to exist the way that they would like to exist, now we are going to begin to socially ostracize. We are going to separate but equal the trans students. And Florida is a state in the United States where under Ron DeSantis' leadership, we have seen a huge rise in anti-LGBT, anti-trans, generally anti-freedom laws passed and signed, passed in the state and signed by the governor, Ron DeSantis. One of those was the Parental Rights Act. If I remember correctly, this was signed last year and will take into effect this year, or maybe earlier this year. But point is, as it is taking into effect, we are kind of seeing in Orange County a demonstration as to what Ron DeSantis, when he says "Make America Florida" or whatever the fuck, this is what you have to look forward to. So, students banned from using nicknames under new anti-trans Orange County school guidance. The Orange County Public Schools, or OCPS system in Florida has announced new guidance that means trans teachers will be misgendered, and students will need parental consent for, quote, any deviation from their legal name. So that's great. That's always, you really got to love that kind of freedom. Under the guidance published Monday, August the 7th, teachers at schools in Orange County must use pronouns and titles that correspond to their biological sex at birth. Parents must fill out a form to let teachers know of any deviation from their child's legal name, even if this is a simple nickname. So for all of you, for me, whose name is Josh, I would have to literally get a permission slip from my parents for my teachers to call me Josh. I want that to be really, really clear. This is the kind of lunacy that we are dealing with when it comes to the trans panic in the country. Because keep in mind, you pass these bills, you try to restrict these people's rights, and they always say, oh, it's just to protect the kids. Oh, it's just to do this, it's just to do that. Oh, it'll only affect children because we just care about protecting the kids. No. There are cis kids who will now not get to go by the names that they prefer. There are going to be there are trans adults who are finding it harder and harder and harder to find proper health care in the state because of the laws that they've passed. This was never about the kids. This is the lengths they will go to make sure that trans kids don't exist. All right. The guidance states that parents of trans students may authorize teachers to refer to their child by their chosen name, but the teachers would not be obligated to use their correct pronouns. So again, even in a world where what do they always say? Parental choice, all that sort of stuff. What do they always say? They always do we just think that fucking Jesus. There's sunglasses here and they keep falling off. And what do they always say? They always do we think it should be the parents. And a parent goes and signs this form because they have a trans kid, and they validate and say, yes, I would my my son or whatever is in the middle of socially transitioning. I would appreciate if you refer to them as I don't know, Sarah, whatever the fuck, right? And they've decided we're heading in that direction, so we'd appreciate if you do that. And now there's a rule here. There is a policy now that a teacher can, sure, absolutely, we'll call your kid that. But when it comes to their pronouns, we are going to, we're only going to half dead name them. We're only going to bother them a little bit about their identity. We'll use their name. That's I guess we have to call it that. But no, our teachers will not be obligated to use the proper pronouns, which is, again, it's just one of those things where they just don't want these people to exist, quite frankly. Under the new rules, trans students will be provided with, quote, single stall restrooms. Now, I'm kind of wondering what that's going to look like. I kind of feel like that's just porta potties, yeah? and changing facilities, and must not enter, quote, group facilities that don't align with their sex assigned at birth. So we have, not only do we have, rules that are going to affect normal, regular cis kids, not only do we have rules that are going to affect their ability to exist the way that they would like to exist, now we are going to begin to socially ostracize. We are going to separate but equal the trans students, and probably, and I don't know what the, it doesn't say anything in here about teachers, but I'm assuming this rule applies for teachers as well. So if you're a trans student, if you're a trans teacher, and you work at one of these public schools in Orange County, you will be ostracized by being forced under penalty of law to use separate facilities. This is quite literally separate but equal. There will be a penalty for any student who enters a bathroom or changing facility aligned with their gender. So if boys go into the boys' room, then what? As well as this, any visitor, including parents, who enters such a facility and refuses to depart, when asked, risks being prosecuted for the criminal offense of trespassing, with the school district facing a fine of up to $10,000. Wait. So if you're a visitor and you use the bath and so let's be clear. If you're a parent that's trans and you come in and want to use the bathroom that comports with your gender, you also must use this separate but equal bathroom and any changing facilities. Although I don't know why you do changing facilities, but most likely bathrooms. That's great. Follows Florida lawmakers passing House Bill 1521, which makes it a misdemeanor trespassing offense for someone who uses toilets that don't align with their biological sex in May 2023. Which again, the actual, so keep in mind, they went through the entire process of passing a law to say that if you are trans and you go into the bathroom, we as the state care so much that we will charge you with a misdemeanor. We will incur, lawyers' bills. We will put the system to work to give you a $10,000 fine for using the bathroom that comports with your gender. Now, again, the big question is always going to be, well, how do they enforce this? As with every time we talk about any of these anti-trans bathroom laws, the question always becomes, how do we enforce this? How do you know that somebody entering into a bathroom is the gender that comports with that bathroom? And most people, and somebody dumb and brain-addled might go like, oh, well, I would know because I look at them and I go, oh, obviously that's a woman. But we've all seen passing trans women. So obviously there is I've been mistaken for a woman before because I have long hair. The idea that there is any real way to tell somebody's biological underpinnings just based on looking at them is absurd. And it's just bullshit. It's lies. So what's the solution here? Do we have a police officer checking people's identification outside of every single bathroom? Does Florida have the staffing to do that? I don't really think so. But the thing is that it's not supposed to be serious. It's an absurd ask and it's an absurd standard to set. And this is why when we talk about ostracization, it doesn't have to work. They don't have to be able to actually do this. What actually is going to happen is there are going to be a bunch of Karens in Florida, as one would expect, who are going to blow the whistle on not just cis women, but trans women as well, at the threat of $10,000 and a misdemeanor for going to the bathroom because they don't look ladylike enough for this or that person. And that's what's going to be the outcome of this. It's simply going to be that normal people are going to get bothered going to the bathroom from a bunch of nosy Karens and a bunch of nosy assholes who can't just let people go to the restroom. And because of that, it's there to incentivize trans people to just not bother in public. Be trans in your own home, but when you walk outside the door, You need to be whatever gender we say you are based on our societal standards. And what's funny enough is like these are the same people who will say things like we don't leave our Christianity at the church door and stuff like that. It's just absurd. And it's just another example, quite frankly, of the lengths that these people will go to harass, ostracize, and otherwise eliminate trans people from their society. They just and again, and this is the state that Ron DeSantis, the supposed alternative to Donald Trump, this is his record, and this is under his leadership. So when people say, oh, Florida this, Florida that, ask them about this. Ask them about House Bill 1521 and ask them to explain how, how any of this is, how any of this aligns with freedom, how any of this aligns with any reasonable way to run a society. I want to take a look at the actual bill if we can. Just obviously we're not looking at like the raw text, but okay. In 2021, the legislature enacted HB 241, the Parents' Bill of Rights, codified in Chapter 1014 FS. It provides that quote, important information relating to a minor child should not be withheld either inadvertently or purposefully from his or her parent. School boards as well as other government agencies. Oh, by the way, this is literally just codifying into law that teachers must out their trans or gay kids to their parents. School boards as well as other government agencies may not infringe upon the fundamental rights of parents unless it is, quote, reasonable and necessary to achieve a compelling state interest, and that such action is narrowly tailored and is not otherwise served by a less restrictive means. These rights include the right to, quote, direct the education and care of the parents' minor child. Finally, school boards must adopt a policy to promote parental involvement in the schools, including a process to object to instructional material, opt out of sex education, which, by the way, this all already exists, and other rights previously enacted in the Education Code. Further, in 2022, the legislature enacted HB, I want to zoom in actually, it's small text. 2022, the legislature enacted HB 1557 entitled Parental Rights in Education. This bill amended the powers and duties of the district school boards. It requires school boards to adopt procedures for notifying parents and legal guardians if there is a change in the students' services or monitoring related to the student's mental, emotional, or physical health or well-being, and the school's ability to provide a safe and supportive learning environment for the student. Again, same thing. It's the same. We need to know at all times what's going on with our kids, because if we don't know, if we don't know our kid might be thinking that they're gay, then we can't, send them to conversion camps or something. District procedures can only permit withholding information from a parent or legal guardian, quote, if a reasonable, prudent person would believe that disclosure would result in abuse, abandonment, or neglect. By the way, you have to prove that. You would have to literally prove abuse, abandonment, or neglect. The legislature also added to the superintendent's duties and responsibilities, provides that, quote, such records and reports shall include any determination to withhold from a parent information regarding the provision of any services to support the mental, physical, and emotional well-being of the parent's minor child. Any such determination must be based solely on child-specific information, personally known to the school personnel, and documented and approved by the school principal or his or her designee. Sure, whatever. Such determination must be annually reviewed and redetermined. Yeah, constantly having to reassess, okay, are the parents not bigots yet? Which also this comes in the wake of, if I remember correctly, let me see if I can find teacher. Let's see. Here we go. Florida is short more than, let's see, when was this? Oh no, this is 2021. Now give me the new shit. Give me whatever the newest. Oh, that's why. Let's see. 6 days ago. There we go. See, Google knows how to fucking organize stuff. Tampa, Florida. With the first day of the school new year approaching, Florida is facing one of the country's worst teacher shortages, the state's largest teachers union said Wednesday. Andrew Spar, president of the Florida Education Association, said there are roughly 8,000 teachers and 6,000 support staff vacancies across the state. Spar blames the political climate for causing the classroom controversies and low salaries, with Florida ranking 48th in the nation in average teacher pay. Florida, quote, Florida is dealing with, if not the worst, one of the worst teacher shortage situations in the nation. While beginning teacher pay has improved significantly over the last few years, you can't bring people in and not continue to allow for growth in pay because they will leave. And that's what we're seeing. When you see people who have been working in districts for 15 to 20 years making a little bit more than the same as someone just coming in the door, they tend to dislike that and leave the profession. In some counties, however, the situation has improved. Hillsborough Schools currently has about 530 vacancies, down from nearly 700 a year ago. In Pasco County, I didn't even see the C. In Pasco County, there are about 230 openings, compared to about 400 at this time last year. George Papanuel, Jesus, Pasco School's recruitment manager, attributes the improvement to a tax referendum passed by voters last year that raised teacher salaries. I can report that has to have a direct correlation to why we have 150 or more or less openings issue than we did a year ago at this time. Education leaders worry the shortage could impact class size, but they won't know for sure until the school year gets underway next week. So let's be really clear here. Florida's dealing with a shortage of teachers, partially because of teacher pay and partially because of the environment that Ron DeSantis and the Florida legislature has created. And because of the way that they've decided to go after trans kids and trans people in general in the state through education, it is going to lead to a reduction in the quality of education for everybody. They are willing to sacrifice everybody's kids' education if they can just discriminate a little bit more against trans people. And, you know, the only thing I really have to say is it certainly warms my heart to know that Ron DeSantis will not be a viable candidate for president anytime soon, considering the fact that he is quite frankly a rather uncharismatic, really weird, awkward fuckwad. And you know, I guess in a way that's how we reach a bit of a balance in the world, right? You know the thing that they tell, you know, like at the end of all YouTube videos where they tell you to like click on one of these like things to watch more videos. Yeah, I've been meaning to film one of those. So that's what I was doing. I was just setting it up to film one.